Welcome to another edition of The Naked Brand. Okay, so in today's video, we are talking about the brand purpose, the core purpose of your brand. Let me tell you why it's important. So a few days ago, I got an email from an old client, a client that I worked with probably about 4 years ago, probably about 3 years ago. And so at that time, the client was doing around $500,000 worth of revenue per year. And so they came to us, and I created a brand strategy. My agency created the brand identity, the full kind of visual language, and website design, and all that. So, to cut the long story short, after that, the company, the business, went from about $500,000 in revenue per year to $1 million, $2 million, and then $3 million in the next 2 to 3 years. Now, the strategy that we created was fantastic. It worked really well. But of course, I got an email recently from a client, from the same client. And the story was that the revenue had fallen, right? So gradually, the revenue had fallen. They were back to, I don't know, less than what they started with when they came to us. So it was less than $200,000, something like that, which is, I mean, it's a disaster, right? So to go from $3 million down to $200,000 a year, it's a disaster. And so I was looking at that, I was analyzing it to figure out what could have gone wrong. And the one thing that stuck out to me was that, and this happens with a lot of brands out there, right? So it happens to almost, I would say, every brand if they're not careful. And the issue was that, well, actually, a couple of issues. The main issue was the founder, the company, the business, the stakeholders forgot what their core purpose was, right? So look, every brand starts out with a core purpose, whether they explicitly define that core purpose or they don't, right? So you do have a purpose when you started a brand. You wanted to, I don't know, create a product or create a service to solve a problem that a target audience was having. And as that succeeds and as sales goes up and your customers are happy, what then tends to happen over a period of time is that you tend to forget that original purpose, or at least the core purpose of the brand. Now, in this case, when the client came to us, we worked on their core purpose. We figured out and articulated their core purpose. And we utilized that core purpose to create the brand essence. The brand essence that had the core purpose, which was the internal purpose, the higher purpose goal, which was about what the brand cared about in terms of the world, which then translated into their core values, brand vocabulary, the vision, mission, and so on, right? So that is the brand essence. And that's what we figured out based on the seed of the core purpose. Now, from this brand essence, you get your brand strategy. Brand strategy is nothing but telling or rather articulating your brand essence to the world, to try and align with the worldview of your audience, utilizing all these components. And so what then happens is, as success comes, as you're busy, you get busy with sales, with fulfillment, with, of course, delivering your product or your services and raking in the revenue, you tend to forget the critical components of the brand essence, especially the core purpose. Anyway, so I would say that from time to time, first of all, work on your core purpose. Even if you're an established brand, a brand that's making a lot of money right now, and you have a lot of audience and you have a lot of customers, it's okay. You still have to take a look at your brand core purpose and say, has this core purpose been articulated well? Does it truly reflect why we started this brand in the first place? Why we wanted to create this product or this service, and who we want to serve? Who is it that we're trying to help? Are we still, and if you're an existing brand, then you need to say, are we still focusing on that group of people or those groups of people that we started out in the first place to help? Or have we been distracted? Have we lost sight of why we began in the first place? Has the purpose become vague? Has it been stretched? Have we sort of been distracted by new shiny things that popped out? This could be new product ideas, new service ideas, or it could be new market segments that we felt we could get into so we can increase the revenue. You got to really ask yourself these fundamental questions, and I would say do it every 3 months. Okay, at least 6 months, right? You got to do that. You got to do some deep thinking about your brand every 3 to 6 months, where you evaluate your core purpose, you evaluate your vision, mission. And when I say evaluate, not in isolation, but in the context of where your business is going, how the sales are going, how the revenue is going, and what the market trends are, and very importantly, what your competition is doing, right? I used to advocate, and I used to truly believe that you don't really need to look at the competition that deeply if you have a unique product and if you have a unique way of selling that product. But I've changed my mind about that because trends are changing, consumers are changing, the internet landscape is changing, media is changing. Right now, you need to look at your competitors and competition as much as you look at your own core essence, because that dictates what's happening with the consumers, what's happening with the landscape. Okay, so what do you have to do today, right now, to ensure that you don't have the problem that one of my clients had, right? First thing is evaluate, do an audit, do a brand essence audit. Take a look at your current situation in terms of sales, in terms of revenue. Are you leaving any money on the table? Because there could be opportunity costs if you're not evaluating or reevaluating your brand essence and aligning that with what needs to be done. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. If you have any stories, share them below in the comments. And if you need help articulating your brand purpose or defining your brand essence or even building your brand strategy, just hit me up, send me a DM, or find me on LinkedIn or on Twitter. I am Mash Bonigala. On Twitter or X, you'll find me as Bonigala. And then on LinkedIn, you can search for me, Mash Bonigala, and then DM me. Tell me about your problem. Tell me about what you're trying to do. What's happening with your revenue? What's happening with your current kind of marketing efforts, whether they're succeeding or not, and if they're not aligning with the worldview of your audience. Let's try and figure out the best strategy for you. All right. In the next video, let's take maybe components of, well, we started with the core purpose, right? In this video, maybe in the next video, we can talk about, I don't know, the difference between an internal purpose and higher purpose goal, or how to utilize them to create the brand essence and so on. All right. I'll see you in the next video.